26. I'm Marlaina Scarbrough, and today we're in Grayling at the Gray Center, speaking with Clinical Director Doug Pryor. Doug, can you tell us the background on Grace and what it is?
The Gray Center was started by the Episcopal Church across the parking lot by two people, Bob Smott and Derek Roy. And he was a priest and Bob was a counselor, and they wanted to do some work, counseling work with the locale. Mm-hmm. Their first area that they wanted to work in was substance abuse, and this was back in the late 80s. So they started I guess you would say a faith-based program, but they very quickly were able to develop it into a nonprofit organization that also allowed it to tap into other government funds so that they could provide better services to the community in the way of counseling services. Mm-hmm. So we've been around since 1987, and I believe it was somewhere in the early 90s or so that they built the building here. Okay. And we've been located in this particular spot since then.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like an awesome organization that you have going, and I mean, just you're really helping people out. So what does GRACE stand for?
GRACE is an acronym, and it's 5 letters, and it stands for the Grayling Regional Addictions and Counseling and Education. Okay. So Grayling Regional Addiction, Counseling, and Education. That's what it got changed into. At one time, it was the Human Life organization, and they changed it from there. And it pretty well speaks to the many kinds of things that we do. We first began working in the area of addictions and counseling about addictions, but we've expanded quite a bit since then, so that we also do general counseling. Yeah. We do counseling with troubled families. We do counseling for people struggling with gambling. We also do like grief counseling and couples work. Another area that we do is education in the community on topics such as addiction and recovery, also other mental health topics. There was one time I ended up being invited to talk to the local psychology class at the high school, and we were talking about psychopathology and mental health. We also do retreats, and we've done that with various recovery-based organizations that we've been involved with. And the purpose is to help them enhance their own growth in their recovery. Mm-hmm. That's some of the stuff that we do. We've also been involved a little bit with assisting with interventions. We haven't done an actual intervention, but we were helping some other people who were planning one. And that's just the beginning area that we're kind of looking into. And then we've also done some education work at the local, some of the local businesses around here who have asked us to come in and talk to their managers and workers.
Okay. So it seems like you do a whole lot for the community here. I mean, if anyone needs any kind of counseling, you're here to help, whether it be from gambling to grief to family to just couples and anything in between. People can come here, they can get the help they need, and they can go on and they can be a better person or a better family from this.
Correct, very much so. Our goal is that we want to see people coming out of their experience with us better off than when they started. Mm-hmm. We believe that humans have a potential, that they want to grow, and sometimes they get stuck. And our job is to help them find ways beyond that, so that that energy, that potential that could be part of them can begin to expand.
And I think that is a really great thing that the Grace does. I mean, it helps the community in so many ways, and like you said, it makes them a better person when they're done.
Correct.
And that is just, I mean, that's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So since you're a nonprofit, you know, you probably need donations or things like that. So how can people contact you? How can they donate to this phenomenal organization?
We've had various places that have donated to our organization, and they can contact the Grace Center, and they can either talk to myself or the business manager, Carol Mago, and if they wish to make a donation of some type, easily get a hold of us through them. Am I allowed to give the phone number?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yep.
They can call our phone number, 989-348-2544, and talk to myself or Carol. We've had churches that have donated funds to us. We also have grants that we plug into. We also are supported by the Episcopal Church because it was started at an Episcopal church. But the private donations help a lot. And why I dwell on this a little bit, I'm glad you asked about that, is that we do have some people where they just can't afford counseling. And so when we have donations that are given to us, what it does is it allows us to have what's called a sliding fee, so that the normal cost of a full session is significantly reduced to put it more within the client's range of what they could afford. So those donations are very, very helpful for that.
Right, and I just think that is so great. I mean, you have all the support from the community, the support from the church. I mean, everybody just kind of pitches in because you're giving back to the community too by helping these people who are in need. And I just thank you, and I'm sure the community thanks you, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for coming. It's always a delight when we have people that kind of spread the word about what we do.
In Grayling, at Grace Center, I'm Marlaina Scarbrough with My News 26.